了和谐，操办人心长。
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm Pinky, your MC of the event. Welcome to the Hong Kong Web3 Festival 2025 Gamefi Sub-Forum, hosted by Wanshan Blockchain Labs HK Group. 尊敬的各位来宾，下午好，我是主持人 Pinky 罗佩琪，欢迎各位来到由万象区块链实验室 HK Group 联合举办的2025香港 Web3 嘉年华之链上乐园互动娱乐的梦幻之境分论坛。在本次论坛，我们汇聚了顶尖机构，从投资趋势、产品设计到电竞革新，都全面的揭示联游破局之道。是游戏可换性优先，还是金融模型驱动增长呢？At this Gamefi forum, we invited top companies and experts came together to discuss the future of blockchain gaming. They covered investment trends, game designs, or to explain how blockchain games can succeed. Now, please give a warm welcome to our guest speaker, Sam Seo, CEO of Kaya Foundation. His keynote speech is titled "Mini Devs on Kaya and Lie."
Okay, hello everyone. Okay, as introduced, I'm Sam, a chairman at Kaya Foundation. Very nice to meet you. Actually, my second time at Web3 Festival in Hong Kong. So today, this session is about interactive entertainment. So I put my slide title as Mini Devs on Kaya and Line. So today I'm going to talk about mini devs and about the games and others. But yeah, so yeah, let's get started. Okay. So the first thing, so because the Web3 is still using desktops and web browsers as a main platform, but if we look around our real life and our the friends and family, then people are using mobile, and then the world is actually going mobile first. But still, the environment is stuck in Web3 environments is stuck in desktop. So, but Kaya is here to make it mobile first and mobile friendly Web3 environment with mini devs and super infrastructures. Okay, it's not working well. So Kaya is to provide that kind of mobile first and Web3, mobile friendly environment. But for your background, Kaya is actually working with two super app and mobile first infrastructures like KakaoTalk and Line. And through these two super app infrastructures, actually we have more than 250 million users. And Kaya itself is a high throughput EVM chain. So combining these three, actually we are truly providing the mobile first Web3 environments. Actually, last year at Web3 Festival, I presented about chain merger between Clayton and Finchia, and this time I'm just talking about the Kaya, but just for your background, Kaya is supported by these two super app companies and super app infrastructures in Asia, KakaoTalk and Line respectively. But just one thing that I want to highlight from this slide is actually we have more than 250 million users across different Asian countries. And that actually, helps builders to grow a lot, and especially onboarding Web3 users, Web2 users. So, but still, the reason that we are really focusing on these super infrastructures and different channels and users is still most of Web3 blockchains are struggling to get users. And that's the current situation, but we have this huge amount of users already. But more importantly, if we look, into the user base and user distribution of our users, actually these users are from Japan, Korea, Taiwan, and Thailand, and so on. And most of these users actually spending more money than other country users. So excluding China and WeChat, 80% of Asians, digital consumption and spending in Asia are happening in these countries. So that's about our users. And Kaya chain itself is again an EVM chain. It's faster and cheaper than other EVM chains. And we have been operating and testing this technology for the last 6 years, and it is really battle tested. And it's high performing and it's highly reliable. And so this, combining this everything again, we'd like to onboard massive users from our channels, but again, the goal is to help builders to grow further and to grow fast by leveraging these different channels. So we provide holistic, environment and holistic stack of technical stack, and then other stacks to help users, to help builders to scale. And so as one of the biggest initiative for this goal is to introduce mini dApps on the Line Messenger. And just for you, for those who haven't seen the video of our mini dApps or, don't have any idea about the mini dApps on the Line Messenger, I'm going to play the video here. And so the technical team will play the video, 30-second video. After seeing the 30-second video, you guys will see the, the core idea of the mini dApp online. Okay, so it was a short video, but actually it has all the ideas and features that we implemented on the Line Messenger, and we launched it on Line Messenger. So we launched two things: the mini dApps themselves, including games and social pie and so on. So as you guys can see from the left side, the users play the mini dApps from the chatting on Line Messenger, and then connect wallet, and they can play the game and play on, on rewards and so on. And on the right side is showing the dApp portal. DApp portal is a kind of app store of the mini dApps inside the Line Messenger. And this dApp portal has, of course, discovery of the mini dApps and also token swaps and NFT marketplace and so on. So we provide this entire stack of the Web3 features and Web3 function, Web3 environment to the builders as well as to the users. So actually early this year, on January 22nd, we launched this mini app with 32 mini apps in the beginning. And since then, we keep launching every week from about 2 to 5 mini dApps. And so far, we launched about 60 mini dApps. And we keep launching more mini dApps. Although, the number, so far we actually received more than 1,000 projects, but we really care about quality and, the user friendliness and the business model and so on. So we cannot, launch everything that we received, but we choose whatever really, give high value or high quality to the users, and then we chose some of them, and then we, we schedule their launch timings. So, so we launched this amount of, mini dApps, and now within 2 months, actually from the launch, during the first 2 months, Actually, we saw significant, the growth and then onboarding of the users and growth of the mini devs on our platform. So the first number is about accumulated users. So we saw more than 48 million users played mini devs on the Line Messenger. And more than 5.6 million users registered that portal. So we have more actually close to 6 million unique users on that portal. And number one devs ARP is about $350. It's a huge, it's huge number actually. And number one devs MAU is about 2 million. And number one devs paying user ratio is more than 25%. So this number is really, kind of amazing numbers, even compared to Web2. Web2's very successful game businesses. So we are very excited about these numbers and also Lines and our partners as well. But these numbers were, those numbers were about mini devs, but about Kaya chain itself. Actually, Kaya chain became the fastest growing the blockchain ecosystem at the moment. Because if you look at this graph compares the number of active users across different chains. But if you look at the recent months, actually from March, the growth of the Kaya chains active users is very significant compared to other chains. So now we have more active users than other EVM chains, even other layer 1 or layer 2s. And even we compare this growth rate with other, even other Web2 businesses, we compared how fast we achieved 1 million users on our dev portal. Is actually we achieved it within 8 days. So this is about this is even faster, even compared to the Web2 businesses like Spotify and even Facebook. Yeah. So this is amazing. So this is about mini devs and about the games that we launched so far. But this is not everything that we prepared and we are planning. So we are very closely working with the Line. The Line is a super app. It has gaming sectors, but also has different sectors like finance and content and other areas as well. So, but after seeing the first, the numbers and the growth of the mini devs on the Line Messenger, both Kaya Foundation and the Line team realized that, okay, we have to increase the exposure of the mini devs to more users so we can bring and we can onboard more users more quickly. And so the Line Messenger has different different channel, different places for the user onboarding or user exposure. So we'll be leveraging more channels through the Line Messenger. But in the meantime, in parallel, we are going to also introduce different sectors to our users, because the mini dev platform itself is a very general platform. So any kind of mini devs can be launched and can be played there. But apparently, as I showed previously, the most of the mini devs at the moment are the games. But this is very natural because if you look at other mobile businesses, actually the gaming sector is the biggest sector. Even if you look inside the messenger business. But after having the gaming sector in mobile messenger business, the next step was always the financial sector. So naturally, our next step will be about finance, but ultimately we also have content as well, content related mini devs as well. For the financial sector, so we are gonna introduce the stablecoin summer. So the summer is coming, and the stablecoin summer on Kaya is coming as well. So we announced this last week, but we haven't announced the details about this stablecoin summer yet. But soon, very soon, You guys can see the details, but the goal of this, the stablecoin summer and then the introducing financial sector is to, to allow users on our mini dApps can play with their tokens or their assets with more opportunities. So stablecoin would be the first initiative and the first thing that we are gonna work with. But that's not only about stablecoin. We'll be also introducing RWA projects to the users and also yield generating tokens and AI agent-based asset management as well. So through this kind of different products and different the ideas, I think that we can combine the builders and users with more in a more Web3 native way, or more to provide more opportunities. So to summarize, we started with the games for the mini dApps, but we'll be introducing the financial apps and the content apps later in the future. And so if you have any projects, if you are a builder, or if you have any portfolio projects, or if you have your friends builders, and they are interested in the mini dApps and on Kaya and online, and still the legislation is open to everyone. So you guys can go to wave.kaya.io and you can register your projects there. And again, Kaya wants to be Asia's super app chain and mobile first gateway to Web3. Yeah, thank you for your attention, and you guys can find more information there. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Your speech truly enriched our perspective on this topic. Please be seated. 谢谢 Sam 的精彩的分享，请回座。Now, let's shift to another topic, and please welcome Kenneth Sheikh, Project Lead Mocha Network of any Mocha brands. His keynote speech is titled Mocha Network, the Digital Identity Infrastructure for the Open Internet. Kenneth, please.
Hi everyone, this Kenneth is actually a great transition from Sam because there's a Kaya logo on my slide later. By the way, Kaya is amazing. I heard from projects being deployed on Kaya, making 300,000, 400,000 a month revenue. So definitely true quality users there. And so this actually is a great transition because we're talking about digital identity. And when we're talking about the quality of users and how do you actually qualify and verify the quality of users. And that's exactly why it's so important to have a digital identity infrastructure for the new internet phase. I came from a machine learning, AI, data background that enable company and company, brand and brand data matching and clean room and all those kind of use cases. So this is our point of view on digital identity. Digital identity, from our point of view, is basically the backbone of the internet. And why is it the case? If you look at Larry Fink's, this is very fresh, by the way. Larry Fink's talk about one day I expect tokenized funds will become as familiar investors as ETF. And one thing that he wished to solve is digital identity and verified identity. And why is that? Is because we don't really see the world where there are billions or even trillions of dollars on the blockchain, and there's no single digital identity that is verifiable. And if you look at the digital identity phase in Web 2 and also Web 3, and more so in Web 2, it's even more fragmented. Think about you use your account on Uber or you use your account on Deliveroo. It's basically a different account, and your identity is not transferable. It's not cross-verification is almost impossible. So for programmable money and AI inference in the future, if we want to build a true semantic web and being able to have a fully autonomous internet, digital identity is the backbone of it. Second, a lot of companies are trying to solve interoperability at the transaction level. And the transaction level, what I mean is creating atomic transactions across multiple EVM chains or non-EVM chains. But our point of view is that would take some time. That would create larger fragmentation, larger cluster of alliance, And at the end, what comes down to the first principle is every single user start with an account and digital identity and their data. So our answer to interoperability with a sizable network of hundreds of portfolio companies and hundreds of millions of users, our answer to that is digital identity. Third is digital identity cannot really reach the right network effect without critical mass. That's why we think we have the accountability to build this. So BlackRock announced, like, basically they anticipated $10 trillion being on chain. And I cannot see a world that there's no intersection of compliance and real-world assets on the blockchain in the future. It just doesn't make sense. It's not going to happen that way. If we want real-world assets to be on-chain and tapping into real-world users, you would need on-chain compliance. The question is, how along the spectrum of compliance and decentralization, how can you provide a privacy-preserved digital identity that is verifiable on-chain and having programmable access for these users and accessing all these RWA assets and the yield that Sam was just talking about for Kaya? Second is, this is very fresh as well, 23andMe. Basically, you see the headline, 23andMe is going to sell your genetics data because they went bankrupt. They basically need to sell the business, but people who trade their data actually for convenience. And how do you imagine in a world that your genetics data can be freely transferable, freely monetizable without you knowing about it? You probably sign some fine prints, but the feature that we see with digital identity is you would own your own genetics data and you would be able to monetize from your own data if someone will find your data valuable. And by verifying it, you need to sign your approval to authorize any kinds of third parties to access your data. Third is, if you look at the big tech success, let's put some names like Meta, Google, or any kinds of companies, the whole business model is based off of creating the walled gardens of data, ring fencing the data, and not sharing the data so that every single brand who actually wants to tap into a larger user base, they need to work with a centralized party. I was in this space before. I was working with LiveRamp. I was working with the largest ad tech platform in the whole world. And I was the one who was buying data from data broker to know exactly where the user is from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. in which mall and staying for how long and which floor. Imagine how scary that is. And I was the one on the other side. And imagine the world where your data is freely monetizable, freely transferable. And that shouldn't happen. That's not right. The digital identity world that we imagine is user should have that ownership, and whoever is trying to ask for that data should be monetized, and the user should benefit the most out of it. Here we are proposing from a fragmented network to an open network. A fragmented network, the Uber, Deliveroo, Foodpanda, whatever consumer app accounts that even you're using the same email to log into the apps, everything is fragmented. When you are Uber user, even you're a 4.99 rating, you go to a Deliveroo app, the Deliveroo app is not going to recognize your Uber rating and give you special benefits of it. You would become a new user to any kinds of new apps, and you would be treated as a new user, on and on. What we're proposing as an open network is we allow the users to tokenize and re-own the data from any kinds of web data through CKTLS, and also allow the first-party data owner to issue data back to the user, and going forward, the user can carry those data and verify anywhere. So what is Mocha Network? Mocha Network is solving the problem with two main products. One is through AIR SDK. And what AIR SDK is, AIR stands for Account, Identity, and Reputation. And AIR SDK allow all the largest consumer apps to have an embedded wallet user experience, have embedded digital identity, and allow the user to use the same key to encrypt and decrypt data, and allow the user to go to any other consumer apps and verify their data if they approve it. So Kaya is one good example of having similar experience, but we are enabling these user experiences to the largest consumer apps in the whole world. We started with SK Planet, which is the second largest company in Korea, SK Telecom, next to Samsung. They got 28 million KYC users. The AirKit, Air SDK global account is already natively integrated and embedded in the largest loyalty program in Korea. There's a lot more that is coming forward. OneFootball has 200 million users, one of the largest football media apps in the world. And the Mocha Network's Air SDK would also be deeply and natively integrated with the consumer apps. What that means is in the future, the OneFootball users are able to generate data based on their achievement within one app. They can encrypt the data, they can generate a zero-knowledge proof, they can allow that zero-knowledge proof to be verified on-chain by any other consumer apps and creating programmable logic and system logic after that. So with the decentralized data storage, that actually allow reusable zero-knowledge proof credentials as well. So what we do here is basically easily onboard, verify, and help our partners and users to monetize and maximize their rewards and their benefits. This is a very relatively detailed way to explain how it works, but basically the TLDR, or the summary of it, is a user getting onboarded, they have a digital identity, they try to visit an app, the app asks for the user credential, and then the user would be signing a transaction saying that I approve you to verify my credential, and then the app would open up the access and open up the other rewards for the users. And all of these data are being stored, encrypted, and being basically accessible by any other apps with the user approval. So it comes down to the Air SDK, and the Air SDK actually has the account feature that allow any other users that has the same identity, same email, or same phone number, being able to share a global account. And imagine if the entire Animoca Brands portfolio companies with hundreds of companies, hundreds of millions of users, federated in each consumer app and sharing the same account, managing the same assets, managing the same identity, and cross-verification is possible among all those companies and all those users. This is our answer to building a network and growing that network effect. And not only that, we're not only working with portfolio companies, but also with large user base partners like SK, that you can see here is already live in the app in the largest loyalty program in Korea. So what that brings you is a global embed account. You can bring your own authentication, meaning that SK doesn't need to create another login. You can use the SK login in order to generate a wallet. You can manage your identity, manage your assets. All the transactions can be gasless and signless. You don't need to repeatedly sign transactions. You don't need to pay gas. There's biometrics 2FA to secure the account. And there are wallet services such as swaps, on-off ramp, and all those features as well in the SDK. Second is the Air identity and credentials. If you look at the screen here, it's all Korean, but if you look at the screen here, basically, if you want to redeem a reward and it asks you for your credentials on Korea Air, and normally, how can you prove to any companies or any apps that you're a Korea Air Premium member? With our tech stack, that would actually allow you to tokenize any kinds of web data and encrypt the data, generate a zero-knowledge proof, and able to allow any other apps to verify the status of the user. So here, once you click it, you're actually going to verify you're a Korea Air Premium member. Once you click verify, you're actually allowing the access to SK in order to verify that data, so that you would actually be able to redeem your rewards or to get access to certain kinds of exclusive access. So all of the data is privacy preserved using zero-knowledge proof. Any kinds of web data can be tokenized through CKTOS. There's an embedded monetization layer there that actually track the issuance and verification. So this is the end-to-end SDK. Once a network is integrating, basically all those users and all those data can be cross-verified. So just to quickly share a little bit of background, and Animoca has been investing in the space for the past 8 to 9 years, and we've been thinking a lot about how do we truly build synergy across all these companies. And the answer to that, and today especially, is we believe digital identity would create the explosive growth within not only our ecosystem, but the entire Web2 and Web3 ecosystem. Interestingly, when we talk to Web2 companies, they find it even more valuable than when we actually talk to Web3 companies. Because the Web2 companies, you can see ad revenue is going down, you can see user is still there, but then how do you actually create a more enriched user experience that is not only provided by one app, but a network of internet services? So with our background not only in Web3 investment, but also in a lot of exposure in Web2 with brands and so on, we do believe the answer to network effect is digital identity. We would be using our, we'll be adopting the Mocha token as the core verification transaction fees, gas fees, and using that for staking, locking, and so on. The token is already live for almost a year now, and we do believe with this network effect, it needs to come with core incentive layer in order to create a vibrant ecosystem. So this is it, and thank you so much for everyone's time.
Thank you, Kenneth. Thanks for your insightful presentation, which deepened our understanding of this topic. 谢谢我们 Kenneth 精彩的分享。接下来，我们邀请下一位的嘉宾到台上。May we invite Wei Chen, CEO at Midland. His keynote speech is titled From Humor to Hustle, How Meme Culture is Redefining Web3. 他们的主旨演讲是从幽默到热潮，迷因文化如何重塑 Web3。有请两位。
Hello. I'm not Ray. This is Ray right here. I'm here to have a chat with Ray quickly in 15 minutes if we can cover a lot about humor to hustle. Because who knew memes have become part of our culture? You know, 9gag.com was out when memes were not even called memes. It was just called funny pictures, right? That was 16 years ago. So Ray, being you witnessed the whole rise of the power of memes, like why do you think and how do you see meme culture evolve, especially in this Web3 universe now?
Yeah, it's been a long time, right? But I believe that for memes, from something kind of like an online, in online forums, right, insider jokes, right, to become like a global phenomenon, I think it's been fascinating. I think for Web3, right now when people talk about meme, they usually just talk about meme coins, right? But they also talk about all these like funny pictures created by all these like communities, right? So we can see that Web3 and blockchain, basically they help memes to tokenize. They help memes to financialize, right? That put a dollar sign, that put a value to all these memes, and then also kind of like incentivize all these people participating in all these like online communities.
I think it's a bit different from your traditional finance where we are almost creating some entertainment as well, right, at the same time. So how do you balance, entertainment and utility as a project owner, moving into this space?
Yeah, we got asked these questions all the time, right? Because, what's the usage, right? Or what's the use of meme, right? What's the use of like meme coins? I think to be honest, right, for most people, especially people in Hong Kong and a lot of like developed cities, entertainment is actually a main part of the usage, right? If you ask any high school students, right, how do they spend their time, right? They probably spend most of their time in entertainment, kind of like quote unquote useless stuff, right? And I think those are the things that why adults or older people, right, or mature people, they never understand the youth, because they always think that, hey, when I try to create some products, it needs to be useful. But for the newer generation, the use is actually having fun. Just like, why do people travel these days? It's not about business. It's because they want to see the world, they want to have fun, they want to see all kinds of like different like buildings and stuff like that. after seeing it, is it really that useful? Not really, right? But most of the time, people enjoy doing that. I think that's kind of like how we see leisure entertainment become a big part of usage, where people didn't think it is that important, but actually this drives the whole industry forward.
Yeah, the value is very different for a new generation of investors as well. Especially like content is also a flex sometimes, you know. So when you talk about meme coins, is it just hype or is it here to stay? Because you know, meme comes and go, right? Over the years, we have seen meme being really popular for 1 week. But is this, you know, is this going to be exactly like meme coin? Like, how is meme coin going to go?
We started NIGAT in 2008. That was earlier.
Yeah.
And Satoshi created Bitcoin, right? So we always, I always joke that okay, we have been sharing memes before Bitcoin, right? And people already think that okay, Bitcoin is very old already. To me, I really believe that as a category, meme is here to stay. Yeah, just like all these meme, right? They have like new contents coming out every single day, right? But as a category, it will continue to stay. To be honest, I can say that the market share and also the mind share of meme will continue to grow because the entry barrier is so low that anyone can become a meme creator, right? And we understand that hey, if we have a lot of like good creators, then the proportion of good creators and good content will be also proportionally bigger. Just like okay, how many talents, right? How many PhD are actually from China, right? Way more than in Hong Kong, right? Not because mainland Chinese is generally smarter. It's just because there are a bigger number, right? And I think that this is how meme can drive the change. And to be honest, a lot of people, they mentioned, oh, meme is just hype.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the stuff in our real life is just hype. Like Labubu, right? People say that it's hype, but people also say that it's culture.
It's also here to stay.
It's also here to stay.
Right.
Hello Kitty, or even when I was younger, like all Dragon Balls, like One Piece, right? All these were hype. And if they can stay, then they become part of the culture.
Right.
Pokemon, right? When I was a kid, I thought it was a hype, right? It was a fad, right? But it becomes culture, right? And I think kids these days, they're still trading Pokemon cards. So I believe that for people who only think that they are hype, I don't think that they really understand what culture is. It's always from hype, from a niche group of people, and then it grows into the mass. And finally, when your mom started to use Labubu, right, then you know that this becomes like mainstream.
Yeah, when hype becomes a legend, right? So over the years, like we all know community building is so important for a project owner or especially in this space. So what sort of lessons did you would you give or have you learned from like building this project?
People talk about community building in Web3 a lot.
Yeah.
Right? It's because most of the time you need a community, right, to actually buy your stuff, right, including like NFT, including your token. That's why they spend a lot of time building the community in Web3. Unlike in Web2, I think the relationship is more like consumer and also seller and buyer. For Web3, it's like seller, buyer, and also stakeholder. Right? That's why I think it makes like Web3 very interesting, right? Because a lot of people, they actually can participate in the ecosystem. And a lot of these projects, right, some of them are even called DAO, right? Like DAO is like decentralized, autonomous organization, right? They actually have rights to vote. I think all this kind of stuff has shifted the importance, right? From, okay, you only like one way, but right now it's like two way. I think that makes the whole thing actually more interactive.
Yeah.
Right? It's exactly the term like Web 1, Web 2, Web 3, right? Web 1 is only read. Web 2 is like read and write. Web 3 is like read, write and own. I think in Web 3, because of ownership, and then it incentivizes people to be more active. It makes people to take things more seriously. I think that's quite important in Web 3. I think the biggest lesson learned is when building a community, you need to think about give before you take. I'm not saying that you only keep giving, right? But you have to give value to a community. That's why most of these projects, they have like so-called airdrops, right? They hold events before they ask you for money. Meanwhile, most of these like traditional brands, every time they have an event, basically they ask money from you, right? So I believe that that changes the dynamics between the both parties, including the product builders and also the receivers. Yeah.
Yeah, like so you talked about as a low barrier entry point for crypto, like going into meme coins. So maybe that's the first investment for a lot of people, right? So is it really a positive gateway, or is it going to be a misconception going into this space? Like, if that's the first step they take.
Yeah, we're building in the meme coin space. I mean, my meme coin space. Of course, I'm biased, right? That's why I would say that meme is very positive to the
Right.
crypto space, right? To be honest, right, if you ask someone on the street, they probably know Bitcoin,
Yeah.
right? They may know like Trump,
Yeah.
right? They may not even know like Solana or like Ethereum, even though they are the two biggest chain, right, for in Web3, right? So I believe that meme is actually a very, very important sector for crypto, for Web3. Yeah, I think a lot of the times people focus a lot on the so-called bad stuff of tokens, right? Just like a lot of the bad things are happening in our real world. Right? If you only look at the bad stuff, then it feels like this is the end of the world. Just like if you only look at the bad things about meme coin, then you think that, okay, meme coin sucks, right? Meme coin is bad for the space. But to be honest, the biggest challenge for Web3 is never about the tech. Most of the time, it's more about, okay, why would I need this? Right?
Yeah.
For meme coin, it creates a new kind of like dimension. Hey, it's fun, right? I can be part of the community. I can part of make this like asset increase in value. I think this kind of stuff is actually something that's very, very easy for people to understand. And on the other hand, if you ask me, hey, what can move the adoption forward? Right? Most of the time, it's not technology. Yeah, because most people, they don't bother to learn new tech. Meanwhile, if you tell me that, oh, Taylor Swift is launching some NFT, or like Justin Bieber is launching a token, right? Or Kanye West is launching a token, 100% of people will pay attention.
Right.
Yeah, and I believe that attention, will turn into trust, right? If the creators is willing to build, right? So I believe that most of the time it's not the category issue, it's not the tokens problem. It's just the creator. They don't really believe in it. They only see this as an extraction event. I think the key here for us is how can we continue to build on one hand, but also educating the creator that, hey, if you just rug pull the project, right? This is like killing the golden egg, killing the chicken, killing the hen that can give the golden egg, right? And I believe that a lot of the newer generation of creators, they actually understand that.
Right. So entertainment is definitely part of this whole revolution. What sort of trends do you see in Web3 entertainment? Because I'm sure like there are some IPs that are developed more in animation into like a lot of other products as well. Like as a project owner or as a creator, what sort of trends do you see that leads the space?
I think there are like two at least a few things that I see is already happening. Right? Number one is basically adopting blockchain technology without calling it like NFT or token. For example, Nintendo or Switch, they have something kind of like a digital collectibles, right? Basically, you can trade it. And it feels very much like a blockchain NFT stuff, but they remove the very technical part, right? And I think that's one way. Basically, you adopt the tech without telling people this is the tech. Another thing is actually for the brands, they start to fully embrace it, right? For example, you can see that a lot of the traditional banks, right, they started to participate in all this like stablecoin issuing, right? And a lot of the brands, they actually have NFT as well. Because honestly, what is better than selling digital goods, right? Where you actually don't really have a stock issue, right? Just like most of the kids this day, right? They play computer games instead of playing like, I don't know, card games or whatever other games. Right? I'm not saying that all these traditional products, they don't work. I'm just saying that digital products, they have their own advantage because you can spread it very, very easily. You can buy it, you can trade it across the world very easily. I think a lot of these brands, they started to understand this power, especially, for example, in Hong Kong, when the government is promoting Web3 really, really hard, when the US government, right, they started to recognize a lot of these like meme coins and stuff, they're actually not securities. I believe that more creators, they started to get into the space, not just because for money, because in the past, they feel that, oh, even if I'm honest, right, when I launch something in Web3, maybe people will think that I'm a scammer. But right now, when the government give a better definition of what is good, what's bad, what's allowed, what's not allowed, I believe that more creators, they're willing to join the space. And I believe that is the next, I would say, paradigm shift of Web3 adoption.
Yeah, definitely. So if you have to sum up your vision for Web3 entertainment and meme culture, what's the one-liner?
That's a good question. In the US dollar bill, there's a saying called in God we trust.
We trust.
Right? I believe that is like in meme we trust.
Right.
Because to be honest, across all this like crypto, blockchain, Web3 stuff, I believe that the easiest entrance, right, for people is meme or meme coin, right? I think to the extension. Yeah, so in meme we trust, right? But at the same time, we also have to make sure that we trust the right team, we trust the right people, and make sure that you understand the risks involved, right? Because just like any new tech, just like any investment, just like anything in life, right, there's risk involved, and we have to take our own responsibility.
Yeah, so meme is just the first step of education, and then it's not even like you have to still dig deeper into
100%. I believe that most people get into Web3 not because they have read the Bitcoin white paper, right, written by Satoshi, right? I think they got into Web3 because, Pokemon is launching something in Web3, or Donald Trump is launching a crypto token, right? I believe that most people, they like something because of superficial stuff.
Right.
But until they understand, behind the superficial stuff, there's actually something solid.
Yeah.
It's just like when you see a girl, when you see a guy, right? The moment that you see that guy, you get attracted, not because of his or her character, but because of the face or body or whatever, right? But at least it's not the inside character.
Right.
Yeah, but to be honest, right, whether you get married, whether you want to stay with them for a long time, I believe that, hey, you need some substance. And I truly believe that crypto, Web3, there is substance there.
Right. So what's within is the most important, that's for sure. Okay.
I think both are important. Yeah.
Okay, the last thing, what's up next for Memeland and for yourself? Like, what do you see, or if you have any alpha? I don't know, we have 47 seconds.
Yeah, for us, we started a company called NiGet almost 17 years ago.
Yeah.
Right, we started a company called Memeland like 3 years ago. Right, we kind of understanding that the shift of social media from online forums to mass social media, and then we also kind of see Web3 from just NFT token, right, to a bigger adoption. Right, people talk about Bitcoin ETF these days. Right, the world that we always want to have is can we become the bridge of the old economy and also a new economy?
Yeah.
Right, and I believe that this is something that's very interesting, right, because with better regulations, right, with more media exposure, I think people will trust Web3 more, right? Right now, if we talk to people, I'm building Web3, a lot of people, either they don't understand what you're building, or they think that you're a scammer, right? So I believe that our role is how can we become a trusted channel, a trusted company, a trusted entity in that.
Yeah.
That's why about like 2 months ago, we purchased a public company in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
It's listed in Hong Kong. It's totally regulated by the government, right? And then all this account and stuff, they have to be audited, right? And we want to we want to build the first virtual asset ecosystem venture in Asia. Right? And I believe that, hey, by doing that, we can become the trusted channel for the public. Yeah, because I believe for people who buy the first crypto, it's very likely that it's not using a DEX, right? But probably because they use a channel that they believe in, right? And we want to be part of that channel,
right,
so that it's easier to talk to the government, right? Because hey, right now you are like a legit company, right? And it is also easier to talk to the media, to talk to the public, and hopefully, right, by building trust there, we can continue to reinvest in Web3 and also bring all these cool things in Web3 into Web2, so that people finally don't have to say Web2 or Web3, but actually just a big, good, open web. Yeah.
Yeah. So, in summary, in meme we trust. That's for sure. Remember that.
But also, don't trust, verify.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Ray, and thank you for having us today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, fans, for your sharing. 谢谢各位精彩的分享，请回座。接下来我们会进行圆桌讨论。Without further ado, let's welcome our panelists for what promises to be an enlightening discussion on which matters more, Game or Five. 我们现在有请我们圆桌讨论的专家，有请段希 CEO at Japan Hash, Darren Wong, Head of Business Development of Space Nation, Tetsuya Sanada, CEO at Brock Smith & Company, Sikar Gao, Founder at Dolphins Lab. 有请他们。
Okay, what's that?
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you everyone for being here with us. Before this conversation, I'd like to introduce to let every speaker to have a self-introduction. So I'm the moderator for this panel discussion. I'm Duan Xi, and also people in this industry, my friend always call me Andy Dan from Japan. So I'm running two companies in Japan. One is called Japan Hash, which is a investment and consulting firm to help oversee Web3 and AI companies to enter into Japan market and also explore business chance in Japan. Another is a portfolio company named Fembushi Japan, which is a joint venture between Japan Hash and Fembushi. We just set up this company last year, and in Fembushi Japan, we're doing asset management business in Japan. Thank you. So I should pass to Darren.
Thank you, Andy. Hello, everyone. I'm Darren. I'm the head of BD for Space Nation. I still have familiar faces and some new faces as well. So Space Nation, we're a Web3 MMORPG. You can do epic battles through PvE, PvP, raid bosses, dungeon quests. You can do many different tasks you'd expect from a traditional MMORPG as well. I do wear multiple hats. I am also the Pudgy Penguins Hong Kong community lead. We are doing many side events this week as well. So looking forward to meeting you all. Thank you.
I'm Tetsu Sanada from Proximus. Proximus is a subsidiary of Club. Club is listed Tokyo Stock TSE gaming company. I'm from Japan, Tokyo, and we released the Captain Tsubasa game. Do you know Captain Tsubasa? Captain Tsubasa is a globally famous soccer game. Okay.
Football IP, very good IP.
Yes,
I used to watch it.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Sinka. I'm the founder of Definitely Lab. We provide a small SDK that connects very small browser-based applications and games onto Web3. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to start the first question. In your past Web3 game development, how did your company initially balance the gameplay and find the financial incentives? Looking back, which strategies worked and which led to setbacks, maybe from the Space Station?
For Space Nation, up until now, we are still trying to find out what is the best optimal way for balancing between GameFi and financial incentives. I believe there is no perfect model. The most optimal model we found is not a weighted ratio between 50-50 or 70-30, but rather what comes first. So we always believe that gameplay should come first. It's always our motto. My personal motto is build the core, seed the future. So when you actually build the core, the product first, players will spend regardless. What strategies we used to bring in players? We actually made sure that people play until level 20 before you can make a penny from the game. So by this time you reach level 20, you would have experienced how to actually trade on a marketplace, how to do PvP, how to farm, how to trade. So when you've experienced all the features in the game, this is when you can decide, should I continue to pay or not? So that's one strategy we did. The second thing we did is that our game is actually not free to play. You have to pay to play the game. So we understand not everyone is willing to play a game where you have to invest first. So what we did was we gave everyone free NFTs. You can have these NFTs, these spaceships, and play for the game for 4 days. Again, when you experience this game for 4 days, you can experience the full spectrum of Space Nation, of how to play, how to enjoy the game, how to find it as entertaining as you'd expect. So that's our first one. This way, when we make it gated, you have to pay to play, we filter out all the farmers, all the token grinders. So everyone that plays our game is the target audience that we're expected. We want the people to play our game unconditionally. So it's almost like, so for example, you want to find the perfect wife. You can't find the perfect wife without first having the girlfriend. So you need that journey to find the right audience.
A good sample.
Thank you.
Hi. We made Captain Tsubasa game many times. I can make a comparison with Web 2 game, Web 3 game. I can speak my experience. So we made a Captain Tsubasa game at first by browser game. And the second, we made Web 2 game for iOS and Android OS. And then we made Captain Tsubasa Web 3 games. Our Web 2 Captain Tsubasa games downloaded by 200 million download globally. But Web 2 Captain Tsubasa can't exceed 1% of that number of Web 2 games. So this is fact of Web 2 games. So, okay.
Okay. So Senko.
Hi. Since our narratives mainly focus on very small browser games, and I divide our players into two categories. One category is free players that they do not actually spend anything on playing the game, and another category is that players that actually deposit their tokens to gain yield via playing the game. So for the players that satisfy the second category, they are eventually make a betting based on the coin price and the yield, right? So if the speed of accumulating the yield is somehow can cancel the drop of the price of the coin, then they get some kind of beneficial rewards. But for free players, it's very hard to actually accumulate a yield because what they have invested in the game is neglectable comparing to those who actually stake quite a lot of coin in the game. So what they collect is something based on how luck they actually play in the game. They might just playing about 20 to 30 minutes, and if they're lucky enough, they collect some material that is useful for the second category players to actually increase their yield. So the value they created is by continually trying their strategy to be lucky enough to get the material that can be sold to the secondary players. And eventually, we would like this kind of small browser games to have a balance so that the speed of new player acquisition, the speed of the coin price decline somehow can match the speed of the yield increase. And because all these games are very small, the life cycle of these small games is usually about 3 months to 4 months. And then another new game can be launched so that the players get satisfied for the previous games, can move to the next game. Thanks.
Seems our speakers have different approaches. Good to hear that. And so the next question will be, what was the biggest challenge you faced in the Web3 game business? Was it player retention and unsustainable economic model, or external factors such as market volatility or regulatory pressure? Start from Darren.
We faced two major challenges. One was the nature of our game.
Yeah.
Our game was actually PC-based. So this actually filtered out, or actually locked away 90% of all the player base in Web3 gaming. A lot of games actually on mobile or browser games, but definitely not PC.
Yeah.
So for us, you had to download a launcher. And then when you download the launcher, you have to up the game with at least 20 gigabytes of patches. So this actually stopped many gamers coming to our game as well. So
sure.
onboarding was a major issue
Yeah.
because of this nature. I think onboarding is one thing. Retention is also the hardest, and I speak on behalf of many Web3 games as well. You can onboard 1 million players, but on day 2 you can lose 900,000 players as well.
Yeah.
So we need to find ways how to retain users.
Mm-hmm.
So first we had to come up with many different strategies. So giving incentives, token incentives, when you farm tokens as well, this would actually ensure players will play the game to some extent. We did very well. We had a very good retention rate of 60% on the first month of our game.
Oh, amazing.
So we can sustain the hype, but we cannot sustain the momentum for very long. So we had to come up with very different strategies. Giving away NFTs, giving away tokens, there's only so much we can do. But what we need to do still, regardless, is focus on the product. So again, we stuck to our motto, build the core, seed the future.
Thank you for sharing. Sanada-san?
Yeah. Most challenging, most hardest things for us is potential target users for Web3 is too small. The number of potential users for Web3 is less than 1% of Web2 or mobile game. That's why the budget of Web2 games development has to be less than 1% of Web2 or mobile game. It's very hard. Web3 guys, this industry guys says there is NFT and token in the Web3 world. But that is reason for crafts of Web3 game token. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so the Web3 users compared to the mobile game users and Web2 game users, the Web3 game users, the market is just too small. So you have to make you have to adjust the cost to develop the Web3 game.
Yeah.
Okay, this is very from a business perspective thinking. So, Thinker, what do you?
Hi. I think the hardest part for our business is that you need to convince that it is a little bit more fair to play financial games than play pump and dump games on meme trading. Right? Because I think most of the traders these days are get used to pump and dump style meme coin TradingFi in Web3. Right? Because you play a meme coin, then you get maybe 10 or 20 times reward by the pump, right? But to convince the users that the GameFi of yielding is another good choice, is try to convince them that the meme coin pump and dump gaming somehow a game might get rigged by the whales, right? By the market makers. So we're selling, maybe it's an illusion or maybe it's real, but we're selling an idea that if you play the GameFi games, then the game ecosystem, the game tokenomics not rigged like meme coin, pump and dump game, right? You get some kind of statistics, the math that you can do yourself to find the best strategy, and then get stable reward based on your staking and invest. So that's why most of our ecosystem games are manual games, number games, and yielding games. Thanks.
Okay. So for the next question, maybe you have already speak out your opinion, but I'd like to again I have to ask the next question. That in your view, does GameFi's success rely more on engaging gameplay or on financial models that attracts investors and players? I believe your answer will be like make the best product. But again, please answer this question.
Yeah, it would be still to make the best product available, but you do need a very good MVP to attract the investors. If you don't have a very good MVP, the investors won't even look at the game. I think nowadays when we try the game, we always think to ourselves, is this going to be a rug pull? Will the game die in like 2 months or half a year or even a year? Because not many games really make it after TGE. It always has this pattern as a correlation that after TGE, the products seem to fail. It's because they do not have the right product market fit. They do not focus on the game or the gameplay. So for us, we have to focus on the core in order to move forward. So by focusing on the core, you would have players that actually play the game through unconditional values. You play the game regardless of market conditions, or regardless of the token model. If you look at games like Off the Grid, people play Off the Grid because it's on PlayStation. They don't even see the NFT values. They don't even see the tokenomics. They play the game because they actually enjoy it. It's a very good AAA console game. So for us, I feel if we all focus on the gameplay, we'll be moving to much better heights. Right now, I feel the market is overpopulated with KOLs promoting the token, and that's why people buy the tokens, not because of the game. So it became very toxic. So for us, for the industry as a whole, we all need to move forward together as one. So engaging gameplay is always going to be the best. If you look at now, we're now entering the era where attention is the new currency. Because we're not fighting just to become the best game. We're fighting to actually try grab your time. We all watch Netflix, Amazon Prime TV, we have console games, we have PC games. How can you take their 1 or 2 hours a day? So you need to have amazing, engaging gameplay to take away their time and bring it to your game.
Thank you. Very brilliant idea. And Sanada-san?
Yeah, of course, financial model. As I mentioned earlier, a size of Web3 gaming industry. This size allowed us budget to making a rich game, making a highly engaged game. It's very difficult. So I think financial model is important.
Well, we see different opinions, but I like to see that. Because you both are making games, right? And different games, PC games and Web3 games. So, wow, I think that we're going to have a much hotter topic. So, Sinka, what about your opinion?
Yeah, just as I said, that I think currently Web3 games has to compete with the meme market, right? The dump and pump meme market, because people always saying that the DeFi is the best game in Web3. So you can treat DeFi as a game, right? Everyone that pumps the meme and dumps the meme and get benefits from the market is somehow playing a game that is widely get accepted by the Web3 audience. So you would like to create a game that can compete with this trend, then you have to create a game that people can create assets in it. Because if you create a game with a single coin, then you're playing the same game like you have to pump and dump your coin of the game to attract the users. So the only way to actually break this so that you can compete with the meme market is that in your game you have to create some kind of strategy so that the users can create their own assets and sell and purchase their assets within the game. So I've seen some ideas that people can create a farm or maybe a land in the game so they can sell, and the farm, the game itself is some kind of an asset that can be sold standalone on the blockchain, so that the asset the game created can be extracted out of the game and it gets sold on the blockchain. So I think from my perspective, I treat that as a financial byproduct out of the game, and that is the most important part of the Web3 game from my perspective. If your game does not provide a strategy or internal mechanics to create this kind of assets, then I doubt that the lifetime of the game will be quite short. Thanks.
So, Sinka, you agreed, you are in the same side with Sanada-san, that you think the financial model will be more important, right?
It's not only the financial model, it's the assets that you can extract out of your game.
Yeah.
If your game will own every asset that is created within your game and cannot be extracted out of it, then it's not good enough in Web3.
Okay, I see, but the result is 2 vs 1. Okay. So both of you have, you have released real Web3 games already. So based on the real player feedback, do they care more about the fun of the game itself, or the opportunity to earn through gaming? From you, Darren?
For us specifically, our community is quite divided. I would say 30% are hardcore players in our community. They do enjoy the game, they do give feedback on the narrative, on the lore, they do care about patch updates, the balance in the system. Is this weapon overpowered or is it underpowered? What sort of buffs can make the game better? What updates can we do in the next patch? So we do have very good feedback. Recently, Space Nation did do a TGE last month, and we have seen a significant drop in our TGE. About 70% have dropped off slightly. It is quite a huge amount. So you can see from data, as of today, the market conditions has shown that people are playing the game because they do want to earn. If they don't want to earn, it's because they can go back to console games. So if you're Web3 games, you do care about the financial incentives. But I do feel this is changing. We don't really call ourselves GameFi anymore. It's more Web3 gaming because sooner or later we do care less about the financial element, the side on the Fi. If you look at games, we're being listed on Apple stores, PlayStation, and people don't care about the tokenomics or the NFTs. So sooner or later we will move towards this new direction.
Thank you, Sana-san.
Yeah. As I mentioned, we have been released the Web2 Captain Tsubasa game and the Web3 Captain Tsubasa game. Web2 Captain Tsubasa games have been downloaded by 200 million download. Yeah. And then we released the Web3 Captain Tsubasa game. But most of Web2 Captain Tsubasa users, players, showed no interest in Web3 Captain Tsubasa game. Why? Who played Web3 Captain Tsubasa? Oh, that answer is people are interested in making money. Oh, this is a fact. Yeah.
Can I ask a question that the users of Tsubasa Captain, you mentioned the users, the number of users, are they mainly from the Japan or the global users?
Global users.
Oh, I see. Thank you. Sinka?
I do not have any game that has a very large number of players. But what I observed is that the people playing the game in Web3 are only two categories. The first one is gaming players who cares about financial yield. And the second category are financial players who actually would like to have more fun in Web3. So we cannot avoid talking about the financial issues and the yield in the game. And I still insist that if you would like to have a game that can last longer than other meme coins or other coins, is that you provide a mechanic so that people can create their own assets in the game. So that will give the people some kind of expectation that even if your game dies, right, the asset they create can still live long enough, just like other mainstream coins. Otherwise, people will have the expectation that the asset that they gain and created from within the game will die with your game, right? Which is not a very good expectation. So what we're trying to do is that we provide a kind of SDK or platform so that when we actually migrate Web 2.5 games to Web 3, we provide a mechanism so that people can create different assets out of the game. And they can promote their own assets. Maybe they pay some kind of gas fee from the game native token, but they have to create an asset that of their own so that they can put enough efforts to promote not only the game coin, but the asset that they create from the game. Thanks.
Thank you. So let's face the reality. I mean, under the current market conditions, let's say several Web3 gaming projects are exploring new directions. Have you considered pivoting to new strategies? If so, Are you focusing more on game design, or maybe not game, or exploring new economic models such as play to own or decentralized governance? Have you considered about changing direction?
We do understand that Web3 is all about the next narrative. Narratives is what drives Web3, it drives speculation, and I feel that a lot of people are focusing on AI or AI gaming, and which does make sense. It is the next hype, but I feel we cannot always be chasing the next hype. What if AI gaming is not the hype anymore after 6 months? Then do you have to pivot again? So if you keep chasing hype, it's like trading. If you chase the waves, you will always lose money. So I feel we should not be chasing hype. We will continue to explore new narratives in a way it's beneficial for the game long run. So things that we're exploring right now is dynamic NFTs. So NFTs actually evolve over time the more you play the game. So if you actually have a spaceship in our game, its appearance, the skin, would actually look more cool, it would look more stronger. The weapons you accumulate in our game would actually evolve over time. So the more the player progresses, so does your NFTs as well. So this is something people would like to buy regardless. If you play any mobile games, you buy skins just for the aesthetics alone, just because it looks good. So these are things that we're actually exploring. So I don't recommend we should chase narratives, but focus on the long-term benefits of the product.
I see. So basically the same direction for NFT and the Web3 game. Okay.
Yes.
So Sanada-san, do you have new directions?
Yeah, we have three strategies. One is non-Web3, non-game users are also targeted. Yeah. And number two, revenue from outside the ecosystem. And number three, RWA type Gamefi.
RWA type Gamefi.
Yeah.
Okay.
These are our policy.
So can you give us some example of what kind of RWA, what kind of real world assets?
Now we are release Kaka. Kaka is
Kakao.
Kaka, QA, and
Oh, I
called
see.
Kaka.
Yeah.
Kaka is like a quiz game.
Yeah.
If you can answer correctly, you can get point.
Okay.
The point is changed into our cryptocurrency, but also Amazon gift or something like that.
Okay.
And our cryptocurrency is based on point like that Amazon gift. So not stable coin, but like a stable coin.
Oh, I see. So yeah, and I guess a lot of audience are not familiar with the point in Japan. So point is quite well used traditional asset in Japan. So a lot of shops, departments, every small shops have their own points. It's a very, very interesting thing in Japan. So for my answer, the RWA are the points, right? Thank you.
Yeah, you're
I
right.
think.
Yeah, our strategy is that we would like to create games that can help people launch their own assets, just as I repeat it again and again. And this is not very easy because if you design a game and people use your game strategy to launch a token, you have to provide strategies for this token can be connected with the Web3 DeFi system. Right? Just for example, you have a open world farming gaming, and someone create a small farm, and they would like to accept trades based on their own launch token. Then you have to provide a strategy, so that the user can not only trading their assets in the game, but they can also trade their assets through the Web3 DeFi system. So that will require the game to provide APIs so that they can import, deport, withdraw external tokens from outside the game or from within the game to connect with other DeFi system. Yeah, that's what we are targeting at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
So if any game companies they want to build game and issue a lot of assets, they should find you on your chain.
No, not really. I would like them to try giving the players their own way to create assets within their game. That's the only way for them to, I think, survive in the current Web3 ecosystem. Because standalone game will shrink. It's either you progress and grow or shrink and die, right? It's more likely that in the current gaming ecosystem, a game can last for 1 year and a half, right? So the way to actually increase the life cycle of your game is to provide a way so that people can create assets within the game and pump for themselves. So the jungle is that in our game, you can create your asset and pump for yourself. Something like that.
Okay, got it. Thank you. So I think Singa has a lot to say, but I think he will be here after this conversation. So you're welcome to talk with Singa and also the rest of us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you to our brilliant panelists. Thank you so much. 谢谢各位的分享，你们的政治拙见都让我们受益匪浅。谢谢各位，请回座，谢谢。马上进入我们下一个竞才的环节。Next up, an exciting session with Aaron Tan, CEO of Igloo Asia, delivering the keynote. Punji Penguin, please give a big round of applause to Aaron. 掌声有请 Aaron， 请到台上为我们分享。
GM. So I think my name is Aaron. I'm the CEO of Igloo Asia. So Igloo Asia is the corporate subsidiary of Igloo Inc. Holding. We actually own Punji Penguins and also manage Abstract as well. So yeah, I think Punji Penguins, we are a Web3 IP brand. And unlike Disney, I think Disney started with a Hollywood studio. We didn't start with a Hollywood studio. We actually started with the community from memes and from crypto Twitter timeline, right? So that's how we started. But even that's how we started, we actually grow to something beyond just NFT. Now we have toy line, we have digital content. We host events, and we are way more than just a JPEG in the internet. So I think Punji Penguins has have already generated, on average, every single day you get to see the GIF in your WhatsApp, in your Telegram, and Instagram. We currently generated around 200 to 300 million daily impression per day. Yeah, and in fact, if you look at this, we have like around 30,000 different designs of the Punji Penguins, and our main goal as a company is to really make us the face of crypto and also become the most popular penguin in the world, right? I think throughout the years you get to see more and more designs about all these different penguins proliferated in different formats in the world. So I think one cool thing about Punji Penguin is that we, just like your Rolex watches, people actually wear our Punji Penguins in the form of their PFP. In fact, people like to wear the merch, whether it's a shirt or it's a bag or it's a plushie. I think this is something that a bit different than your traditional Web2 IP. For us, if you look at our community member, people who are renowned people in the Web3 industry, they actually, people like Brian from Layer Zero, even Steph Curry, Web2 basketball player, all of them own a Punji Penguin NFT. In fact, one of the big unicorn company in Southeast Asia, Gojek, the co-founder is also a Punji Penguins holder. So I think this is really the beauty of the brand, is that we are way beyond an IP. We're able to resonate people in the deep way that people want to represent themselves as a penguin. So I think the difference is that Web2 IP, usually they spend millions and millions of dollars in advertising money. But for us, we don't spend money on ads. In fact, we actually activate creators in the scene. We leverage on user-generated content, and as a result, these are the results that usually typical Web2 brand will spend millions with advertising agency, but we're able to replicate that success by leveraging on the community. So I'm going to give you more case study on how this content looks like. So for example, in Instagram, we have all these short animated reels that generated 100 million views per reel. In fact, every single month right now, we average around 200 to 300 million video views in IG alone. in Twitter, every single tweet that we post in Twitter, get the highest engagement. In fact, typically at every single major conference, you get to see that the penguins will take over the timeline. We try to able to leverage on Web3 trends. Whenever there's a Web3 trends that is popping up, we'll try to create content. We're going to build on top of that trend as well. And in terms of GIF, this is the part that we are super proud of. In fact, if you look at Giphy is a platform where they distribute GIF to multiple platforms. We had 40 plus billion views at the moment, all time. And if you look at the competitor like Hello Kitty, Pokemon, Star Wars, they are lag behind us, right? The reason is that we are very prolific in generating memes and GIF as well. In fact, every single week we produce around 100 plus different GIF and upload it to the platform. And besides digital content, we are also in the format of IRL. Like we usually do IRL activation in person, doing marketing campaign, doing seasonal things. We also in the format of toys. In fact, we sell our toys in Walmart, in Walgreens, in Target in the US. Right now, we have sold 2 million units worth of toys at the moment. And of course, we're gonna have more games coming out this year. Right now, we have a game called PUBGWorld.com. So every toy that you buy in the toy store, upon scanning the QR code, you're able to go to a metaverse where you can interact with other buyers who also bought the toys as well. So 6 months ago, we actually launched this TikTok account, which is non-animated. So I think this is something that you guys might not know is that if you go to TikTok, or I think Hong Kong you can't use TikTok, but if you're able to access TikTok, you get to see that this account is already 1.1 million followers and more. And all this content is not even animation. In fact, we basically put ourselves as a penguin, go to Twitch stream and basically donate money to people who have a story to tell. In fact, this account blow up. In 6 months, we achieved this number. And, we're going to continue to build more accounts in the market that's not just animation based. So, the way we become relevant in the market is to really be super culturally sensitive. Like during Chinese New Year this year, we went to the busiest mall in Malaysia. In this case, work with massive Web3 KOL, Yellow Panther, and we create like video content, viral content in the market. So I think for Pudgy Penguins, although we are a Web3 brand, we are building super hard in the Web2 space as well. And in the global scene, this guy, has like 5 million followers in TikTok, but that's how we started the account as well. So we have also an account called Pengu, Pengu in TikTok, where we regularly publish like mascot content. And in fact, this account also getting viral at the moment. And we're gonna, basically when you go to the TikTok account, you get to see there's a storyline behind the Pengu mascot that we actually published. This year, we announced like few partnership. I think one of the bigger partnership is basically the Pudgy Penguins and Line Friends partnership with the mini characters. Later this year, we're going to announce more partnership as well. I think this is how we're going to grow in Asia this year, right? It's really leveraging on partners who also align with our values and also have the distribution channels already in Web2 Rails. So partnership is a core of our strategy. Like in fact, we have partnered with multiple Web3 brands and multiple Web2 brands. And, and on this partnership, we also organize events. And this is how you really know you have a community, is that people who are hanging out online actually come to your event, right? And basically, last year we did KBW with Uniswap. We also did a whole massive marketing activation at one of the busiest mall in Korea. We did DEF CON last year in Bangkok with MapleStory, a legacy Web2 gaming brand as well. And, I think our events is a bit different than your typical Web3 brand. People usually try to have fun in the arcade manner, in the fun manner, and that's how a lot of the bonds are created among community members. So we also do like events in the West as well, like America, Paris. We also partnered with Mimlan last year in NFT Paris as well. New York, CoinFest in Bali, Malaysia Blockchain Week. KL, Malaysia. So I think these are things that we typically regularly host
to basically add value to the community. So I think, even during the bear or during the bull market, people actually generate real friendship among each other. I think that's really the key, right? I think among a lot of Web3 projects, they have a lot of bots, a lot of inorganic way of user acquisition. But for us, we are building for the long term, right? To get genuine real people that also could champion your brand, right? If let's say we partner with you guys. This year, we're also gonna release a new toy line, a limited edition toy line with Lotte Group. Yeah, last year we announced this partnership. This year we're gonna release it as well. Basically, Lotte is a massive conglomerate in Korea, and this is something that I think Pudgy Penguins is really focusing on this year, right? Is to really penetrate towards Web2 mainstream through the biggest brand in Web2. And people always ask us, what is the secret? What is the secret of us getting all this partnership and getting all these brand mentions around the social media? I think one of the way is that we actually had an incredible community. So we actually brought up this infographic is that everyone who matters in the industry, they are a penguin, right? So I think, if to me, we are nothing without a community and without a network. So even those community council who really contribute to our grassroots initiative and programs, everyone is inspired by all these people. We're able to do BD for them. We're able to help connect the community members to people they want to know, right? And then if you receive a job application or job applicants that use a penguin as a PFP, you generally have a higher trust factor when it comes to them as well. One cool thing about us that this year we're going to nail down, which this Vanex is actually a US company that issue ETF. So last year when they issued the ETH ETF, we actually created a commercial for them, a Pudgy Penguins commercial. You get to watch it in Twitter, because I can't play video, but I get to watch it in Twitter. It's a pretty cool, 2 minutes animated video just to celebrate the launch of ETH ETF. And this year, together with Big Wise, we applied to have our Pengu and our Pudgy Penguins NFT into an ETF as well. In Japan, we actually appear in one of the Japanese TV program, with a penguin, with some of the more popular mascot in the scene. So I think these are things that, as Igloo Asia, we're going to focus more is to really work with different countries and to be more culturally relevant in the things that we do. So people don't really aware of this is that we actually sell a lot of toys. I think as of now, we actually sold more than 750K. I think we sold 2 to 3 million units of toys as of now. And this year in Asia, we haven't got a major retailer yet, but that is something that I think Asia need to stay tuned because we are actively negotiating with a few major retailers that could also bring toys to the Asia side as well. So one of the largest holder of Pudgy Penguins, they actually basically built upon our IP. Essentially, what they did is that they create a new total trading card games called Vibes. And these are a case study that you can see that people should, we actually encourage our community to really build upon our IP as well. So Vibes is a TCG game where you get to collect the cards, booster packs, but they also go around different cities to teach people how to play the game. So I think this is a perfect example of how the community co-create with the IP that they own. So Walmart, we are over 2,000 stores. In fact, this Walmart is really one of our first success story in Pudgy Penguins. After this Walmart success story, we get a lot of requests from different retailers and different brand partnership wanting to partner with us as well. So sometimes we also launch limited edition collectible. So these are the collectibles that is limited supply, maybe around 200 to 300 units. But every time we launch it in our e-commerce, we sold out in around 2 to 3 minutes kind of timeline, right? So in fact, this year we're gonna launch another cool collectible, which I think I can't announce it yet, but stay tuned for that. It's actually a Japanese toy collectible brand that we're gonna drop it later during KBW. So this is the metaverse I talk about. Whenever you buy a toy, you're actually able to unlock digital collectible. We give you 3 to 4 random digital collectible for you to unlock, and you're able to roam around the world and basically play around with different penguins buyer as well. For this, the upcoming news is that we are launching a beta test where there will be 10 extra mini games inside the game, where you can actually play and compete with your friends and also rank up in the leaderboard. Okay, I can't play the video, but okay. So these are things that you guys can expect for Asia, right? I think for Asia, we are trying to put this thing to your shelf, basically blind boxes, like figurines like that. So yeah, massive thing happening in Asia. We actually received a few licensing offers already. We are considering it. But these are things that we are focusing on as Pudgy Penguin. It's not just the Web3 side, but also really building a traditional IP licensing company. So I think just to sum it up, for us is that, the summary of this is that we are only 4 years old, but we have achieved this level of success not because we spend millions on ads. It's not because we, built the same way as how a Hollywood brand or a IP brand created traditionally, right? The way we do it is to be really hyper-focused on what the community wants and really to co-create with the community and also to be super engaged with localized content. In fact, this year we have a token out last year, and what we're going to do is that we're going to really bridge the Web3 and Web2 world with this token, right? There will be Pengu, the token will be everywhere in the market. We will bake those tokens into every single experiences, Web3 experiences that we're going to launch, and that will be the cornerstone of really incentivize the mass to come into Web3 as well. So yeah, I think for me is that, my last thing is that whoever that have any way that you want to partner with us, do come and talk to me after the talk. We are open generally to work with anyone. Pudgy Penguin's goal is really to be every single places and every single where, and happy to talk to you guys after this as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron, for your insightful presentations, which deepen our better understanding of Pudgy Penguin. 谢谢 Aaron 的分享，让我们有更深入的了解。接下来，我们开始邀请另一位的嘉宾到台上跟我们分享。Now, let's welcome Michael Tom, CEO at Exterior. He will share with us the topics of Will AI Save Gamefi? 掌声有请。
Hey, hi everyone. I'm wondering how many of you have bought any Web3 game related token recently. During 2021, that was when the time that we had in the midst of COVID and the worst time ever in terms of recession. If I remember correctly, there were one day that Microsoft, Nvidia dropped by 30% in a matter of few days. Does that sound very familiar today? But on the other hand, what happened was Axie Infinity became the most popular game in the world. And Axie Infinity was able to get up to $9 billion US dollar in terms of FDV. However, the stock or the token went down by 94% since then to now. And the same for all other game tokens. For example, Big Time, which is also a very famous one, it dropped by around 94% as well. Shrapnel, which also dropped by similar amount of decrease. But at the same time, other coins, like meme coins, also dropped by 94% or more, right? Like the Trump coin. So is GameFi or is Web3 game just like all the meme coins? Or is there a real utility of game or in Web3? And that is really a question. For example, I myself actually has been investing into game coins as well. And I consider myself a very good investor. I've been investing over the course of over 30 years and has been investing in companies like NetEase, FunPlus, and many other very, very good game companies. But at the same time, I invested into some Web3 companies. And these are some of the companies that all of them actually get listed in the tokens. These are Fusionist, AI Arena, Metascene, Blocklords, and these are very famous names in terms of GameFi as well. But at the same time, all of these tokens actually went down by 90% or above. So a lot of people are very, very disappointed in terms of the token price, in terms of the promises that all these games have made for our investors, and it's not fun. But let's take a step back to see what exactly is happening in the game industry and see if actually GameFi or Web3 can actually help to solve some of these problems. The game industry started in 1972, and I'm just old enough to witness the starting of this game industry. It's a very, very complicated graph here, but you don't have to worry about this. I have made it into something a lot simpler, which is like this. So what happens is that whenever there is a blockage of the game industry and don't know how it should extend, there's always a new technology, infrastructure that brings to more accessible, that brings games into become more accessible. And there is a new innovation cycle. And then there is an expansion of the markets again. So, for example, in the old days, in the 80s, there were arcade that started the game industry. And then, but arcade is very big. If you are old enough to see some of this stuff, it's like really, really big. And it only happens in somewhat like an internet cafe. And then in the States, people put in a quarter to play it. And in Asia, you play a dollar or two to play it, right? But then there was a stuck. And then it becomes a much smaller form factor. And then it went into the home, and then there's a new industry of game console. And of course, the technology continued to become better, where you can see there are 3D graphics. But see, 3D graphics is not just enough, because the 3D graphics takes up a lot of storage. And that's when CD-ROM become very important, because CD-ROM can take up a lot of memory for the games, right? And then you see PlayStation come in, and PlayStation everybody knows and becomes the most well-sold console in the world, right? And of course, then there is the internet, where internet we are able to play MMORPG, what we call, or in Chinese, like a fantasy westward journey. In Korea, there are a lot of players who play multiplayer online games. And this is when I started doing games, which is around 25 years ago. And then, of course, there is the online distribution. A lot of people use Steam, and Steam has become one of the biggest distribution platform. And then, of course, there's the mobile. There's the handphone. There's the handphone internet, smartphones, right? And then you see Clash of Clans and so on. And of course, we don't know what the future is like. But what we understand is that every time there is a new infrastructure or there is a new technology, such as virtual reality, such as Web3, or blockchain, or such as AI, that is going to bring more users or more ways for users to enjoy game. And that's every time there is a new market expansion. So how big is the game industry? Not a lot of people understand that actually the biggest single entertainment product in this world is a game, which is called GTA 5. And indeed, this game is actually almost 3 times bigger than that of the most popular ever movie in this world, which is Avatar. And in terms of viewership, it's around the same, maybe a bit less, right? But in terms of revenues, it's basically 3 times. And then in terms of the total size of the game industry, we are talking about movie adding music together. It's not as big as the game industry. And very soon, even adding TV together, the game industry is going to be bigger than the rest of all this entertainment industry. And you will think about how does it relate to the crypto industry. In blockchain, if you understand that I'm just talking about wallet address, and wallet address, some people might have 10, some people might have 100 wallet address, right? But even in terms of just the number of wallet address, it's not as big as the game industry in terms of number of people who play games. But game industry has its problem. It also has ownership problem, all these problems which I can share about very soon. Last week, I just upgraded my FIFA or FC25 from FC24. And then when I go into the Ultimate Team, which is one of the modes in these games, all my players, I have to start training them and playing them again just because I upgraded the game, right? And I never own these guys. I never own these players, even though I've spent hours and hours playing and investing my time in training all these guys, but I never actually own them. And maybe just one upgrade, I actually have to replay a lot of the games I have played before. And the game company owns it. I never own it. And then, on the other hand, game industry is very aversive to innovation. Call of Duty is a very long-term brand name, but it has come into like 3 different lines, like Modern Warfare, Black Ops, and then each of these lines have like 6 or 7 generations, or 5 or 6 generations. And the problem is, it's always the same game, basically. It's always the same game for years and years. And people are starting to get bored, right? And then obviously, there's the privacy problem, where in Fortnite, all types of data of the users are being grabbed by, the company, and they use it for other purposes without the user to know and understand. So are we able to solve this problem? So far, going back to the basic principles, I think we can, of course, because in Web3, we are able to give the digital ownership of all this data back to the user because of blockchain technology. We are able to tell the users exactly, because of blockchain, because of this transparencies, that users will be able to understand exactly how this money is being made, how the loot boxes, how these random numbers are being generated, and what's the odds of doing that. And of course, we are able to give the ownership of whatever is being generated by the users, which is all this blockchain technology can bring. However, the problem is we haven't solved it yet. And that is the reason why all these token prices of all this game has went down by 90%, except for our token though. But all of the other games have went down by 90%. So why is that? Because we have not solved the problem. Can we solve the problem? Not yet, but I think we will. And most of the time, for the technology be able to solve a problem, you actually need an environment where you can see a lot of other technology being available as well. For example, you have a very good mobile devices, but if the internet is not strong enough, you won't be able to play mobile internet games on it. You can only play Snake or some very Minesweeper, those type of games, but you won't be able to play multiplayer games. But even if the device is very, very strong, but with internet, then and the mix of the two, then you'll be able to do it. And the same for Web3. Without AI, a lot of the problems we won't be able to solve it. But with AI, for example, that when the users be able to generate content very easily with AI, then we will see these users actually want to have ownership of this content that they generated. But without, there's only a very small number of players who will be able to generate content, and only a very small number of people will care about ownership in games. And of course, AI can also bring us into other stuff like simulated gameplay, like emotional intelligence, and dynamic NPCs. You can think about Doraemon, or you can think about Westworld type of scenario. So for us, Exterio, we are very focused on AI gaming. All the games that we are making, we are a Web3 publishing platform. We have a game called Paleo, which basically is the beginning of AI. In the early days, we have all these pets who are using AI to have emotional engine, who have dynamic gameplays, who have dynamic AIs. We have many other games coming out with this IP, but the first game is called Paleo Trade and Craft, where players will be able to craft easily all different kinds of weapons and be able to sell it inside the marketplace within the game. And then we have the Age of Dino, which is a game that, which is also an IP that we have many different games. And one of the games that we are working on now is what I call AI simulated gameplay. So that is all AI based, so that you'll be able to see infinite numbers of possibilities of the dinosaurs in extinction scenario. And then, of course, we have another game called Braves, Overworld Braves, which is based on the monetization, is fair monetization. It's not so much AI, but it's about fair monetization and fair ownership. And Exterio itself is a platform. Besides making all these games, we use all different kinds of technology to enhance these games and to enhance, the bringing more Web 2 players into Web 3. So I am very, very hopeful, or very, very optimistic that AI is going to save Web3 game, and we will be the forefront of doing that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael, for your wonderful sharing. Please be seated. Thank you. At this time, I would like to invite our panelists to join me as we explore the future developments of Gamefi through a panel discussion. 接下来我们会进行圆桌讨论，让我们邀请以下的嘉宾请到台上。May we invite Mr. Kim Boy-hyung, Korea Japan lead at Being Crypto, Queen, Director of Strategy and the Labs, Hassan, founder of Arena of Faith, Chris, CSO at Tabi, Clement, Head of Partnerships at Sport Zero. The topic of the panel discussion is where Gamefi is heading, the new frontier of blockchain gaming. 他们研讨的主旨是区块链游戏 Gamefi 的未来。掌声有请5位嘉宾，有请。
Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to the session. So, we will be discussing the direction where GameFi is heading, and well, we've invited 4 of the top major blockchain game industries companies. So let's go introducing yourselves one by one. From Quinn, maybe.
Yeah, hi, nice to meet you. I'm Quinn from D Labs Games. We just launched a game called Boxing Star X online and Telegram. So I'm excited to be here today to talk about GameFi.
Yeah, hello everyone. Glad to meet you guys. And I'm Hasten, Arena Fifth. I'm the founder of Arena Fifth. And actually, we have just launched our token called ACP on Gate. And also, we are going to release our new games in very near future. And glad to see you guys.
Hello, hi. My name is Chris. I'm the CSO over at Tabi. Tabi is a consumer-focused L1 blockchain that looks to bring mainstream adoption to Web3. And obviously, being more consumer-focused, gaming is definitely a big part of our focus areas as well. Great to be here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Clement. I'm the head of partnership at Spot Zero, and we are building a next-generation anime ARPG game.
Okay, this is a question for everyone. Fun or money? Entertaining or profiting? This is like the big challenge that the Web3 games are facing, maybe from the beginning. How do you make games that are fun for regular gamers, but also good investment for crypto people? And how is your company trying to solve this problem? Maybe Quinn?
Yeah, I can start first. I think that's definitely a tough question and something that all of us probably here are thinking about. But at D Labs, I mean, we think that games should be fun first. That's kind of the core philosophy of what games are. And I think that monetization layer is kind of an add-on on top of the gaming. So the game needs to be good quality to be able to retain users. I think it's a lot of Web3 games that have failed so far have done so because they couldn't get like the retention loops and the game loops good enough to retain those users. So I think basically at the core, the game needs to be fun. But those monetization layers, I think, is an incentive mechanism to bring in users. And I think those incentive mechanisms definitely enhance the user experience. So, I mean, definitely my answer is fun first, but monetization is also important.
Okay, Hazen?
Yeah, of course, we have built like the mobile game and the ACT game, ARPG game, all these different kinds of games. We want to build fun games. And actually, if the game is fun, we can get profits. And if the game fun, we can get more users. And actually, in order to get more users, we have our own referral system. So with this referral system, the players can invite more users to join our ecosystem to get more profits. So like the mobile game, we have the esports system. So the players can enjoy the esports event to get profits. And also for the Web2 games, we enable the users to use our token ACP to buy the game assets in store, like you use in-app purchase to buy the game assets. So after that, you can build a strong character to win incentives from our leaderboard. So Web2 games, Web3 games, based fun, and we want users to get more profits to promote the games. Yeah.
Chris?
Yeah, I think from our perspective, maybe a bit more as like a L1 or as an ecosystem, although with gaming as a focus, I think we're a lot more like pragmatic about it. Like we know right now, realistically, I mean, we do have to like accept or embrace the fact that like this yield, this earning potential of revenue for the users is very much part of it. I mean, we can choose to compete with like Web2 AAA games in terms of like playability, you know, but it takes a while, right? I think maybe for the midterm, we're not there yet in terms of PMF. So I think we do have to like accept it, but I think like the other guys mentioned, it's basically about how do you design the gameplay or the core loops in a way that there has to be a basic level of fun. And then maybe to sort of like move away a bit more from like pure GameFi, where we like level up in order to earn the token, in order to level up even more, in order to earn the token again. But it's a good, nice Ponzi loop, great like flywheel growth loop. But at the same time, I think there needs to be that element of, for instance, you do earn tokens, but you do need to actually, it also depends on your skill, or it depends on like the energy or the time that you actually sink in the game. Or for instance, are we able to find like external sources of revenue that we can sort of like use to supplement it, so that it's not just this like yield, this profit opportunity, it's not purely from the token or the game itself. For instance, like let's say in-game transactions fees, or like integrating DeFi modules within the game, or like just advertising costs, right? We take advertising revenue, we take this and we return that value back to the community and the users, so we can keep it a little bit more sustainable, so that when the market is bad, when token prices are down, apart from the game being fun, there is also this sort of like additional like base layer of yield that lets them earn a little bit. That's sort of like not directly correlated to the token itself. But yeah, that's how we've been thinking or trying to design around it.
Okay, Clement.
Yeah, I do agree that games should be fun and not focus about what are the Web3 elements that are actually being implemented inside of your game, how you actually design your tokenomics that potential have a play-to-earn return on investment for the Web3 gamers. And so this is why, so for example, for Spot Zero, we prefer to focus on the gameplay. On the marketing side, we don't want to be emphasizing on the Web3 elements, what are the things that we are actually building, but actually focusing on the marketing contents around the game itself, what are the different characters, what's the storyline behind it, and this is how we actually going to be making it successful and going into mainstream.
But there are obviously those people who say that blockchain games are not fun enough, but hearing what you guys are saying, those people are wrong, it sounds like. So let's get down deeper. For Hasten, your game is a MOBA, multiplayer online battle arena, but at the same time it has play-to-earn features as well. That's tricky to me, quite. It sounds very difficult to design. Now that you have to satisfy both invested players and new players at the same time, how do you make sure that the new players can easily join in while still giving good rewards to the invested players? Like, you have to reward in double standard. Am I correct on that? And in this case, how do you avoid inflation problem?
Avoid inflation, right? So playing the mobile game, you have to use our token ACP to mint the hero card. If you have this hero card, you play the game, you can get our token in rewards. But actually, we do not send all the token to you after play the game. Actually, part of the ACP will goes to your savings pool. It's kind of like play to stake. It's not like play to earn or pledge to earn. It's play to stake. If you play the game, you have the rights to stake your token in the savings pool. We have a very high APR for the users. They stake the token in the game, and after a certain time, they can get more rewards. And so in this way, for the investors, they can lend their card to certain users, and they play the game to get tokens for the investors' savings pool. And also at the same time, we use a technique called proof of framesync. So the users, the investors, can buy our nodes because the game is driven by esports event. So the users, the investors, can buy the node to validate the esports event to get incentives after the esports event. So playing the game, they can get the incentives. You invest in node, can get the rewards. And also, you can buy cards to lend other users to get incentives. So that's for the mobile game. And I think we have other games in this ecosystem. For the other games, they are used to be very mature Web2 games before. The users can use our token to buy assets. I think it's a very mature economic.
Is it good enough to bring the new players, you think?
Yeah, it's very good to bring new users because you can use the token to buy game assets, and the users cannot refund. If you pay in app, in Google Play or App Store, you pay by in-app purchases. So maybe the users may refund, and if you pay by ACP token, the users cannot refund. So after that, we can send incentives to the users who invite a user to pay ACP to buy the game assets. So in this way, we can make a better use of the referral system to bring more users to our ecosystem. Yeah.
All right, Clement. Spot Zero combines traditional action RPG gameplay with NFT, which is a typical Web3 feature. And how are you introducing these blockchain features to those gamers who are not really sure about crypto? What do the players think about your strategies, if you have one?
Well, so first, we think that Web3 should be being in the backend transparent, being there to enhance the overall gaming experience and not emphasizing on the return on investment. And so this is why, so when we design the game, we actually do have different modes. So let's say, for example, for Spot Zero, we do have an idle mode for the anime fans that really like anime culture, but they are not so good at playing games. So this is why the idle mode is there for them to enjoy the culture, enjoy the content without really having to be good at playing the actual game. And then we have the ARPG part where it's actually for the hardcore gamers that like challenges. To play the game, to challenge different bosses, they have to go like 3 or 5 times in order to get to the next level. And then we have the NFTs that are there to support those that are really looking for return on investment, so the time they're spending inside of the game for actual value. And so how we are actually making it, so the game is actually going to be published in both Web 2, Web 3. And so it's going to be pretty similar to traditional anime games, where through the gacha system, they're going to be able to get additional like either characters, skins, or gears. And potentially part of the pool system, they're going to get high-level items. And these are the ones that are going to be on-chain. And so we're not going to be making a difference for Web 2 or Web 3 users. They're going to be getting that item. Inside of the game, it's going to be similar. But for those that are looking for return on investment, they can actually trade and sell to other gamers, either coming from Web 2 or Web 3. And so this is actually how we make the balance between Web 2 anime consumers that are consuming the contents and those that are actually looking for return on investment.
But have you ever thought about going purely Web 3?
Well, so to be honest, we can't really say that Web 3 is not sustainable, but in order to really get the masses into crypto, we actually have to consider about the user experience for the Web 2 users that are coming to crypto. And so this is why we prefer to make it really simple, very transparent. So blockchain features being transparent in the back end, there to support the overall user experience.
Thank you. Chris, your company has the polymorphic VM technology to help on-chain gamers run better, right? And could you maybe elaborate on this a little more and maybe give us some real examples how it works and compared to other Web3 technologies?
Yeah. I think not to go too technical into it, but I think just very simply, right, this polymorphic VM or PVM is basically a way for Web2 developers to be able to deploy their DApps, and in this case, Web3 games into Web3, but using like the Web2 programming languages that they are familiar with. So how we do this is we have a sort of like a set of standards or SDKs, could be in Go, Java, JavaScript, and then what we have is, or rather how we do this is we basically have to like predefine a set of smart contract use cases, and then when a Web2 game developer is, let's say, building or initiating transaction, we kind of like have a PVM interpreter of sorts that basically translates this into a on-chain executable transactions. And it doesn't have to be on our chain. It could be on any EVM chain or even on Ton as well, if you're Ton and Telegram aligned. But I think what we're trying to achieve is basically to open up the space, especially for Web2 game developers, in order to do this, right? So if it's like a more complex game, they have like more complex use cases, rather than learning a Web3 language from scratch, it's easier or lowers the barriers of entry for them to just simply use our tech and be able to deploy more directly. Because if we really think about it, if you're already successful as a game developer in Web 2, you don't need to bother learning like Web3 languages, trying to penetrate the field, trying to figure out which chain you have to be on, sort of like navigating all of that multi-chain, inter-chain complexity, which can be difficult even for like experienced like blockchain devs. So I think that's what we hope to achieve with like PVM, to make it easy for them and for like the gamers themselves. They actually hopefully have a more wealth of like good quality game devs that are coming into space to build games for them.
Okay. Quinn, this is not about your company or your game, but there was an article recently saying that about 60% of Web3 gamers stopped playing within just 1 month. That's tragic, and it's a big challenge for you guys, maybe. So with Boxing Star X, which is a game that your company introduced recently, how are you trying to keep players interested beyond just offering tokens? And how do you measure if players are truly engaged for the long term?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good question, and I think something that all Web3 game developers are thinking about. I think one thing that a lot of projects and games miss is they put the token up to front and really don't focus too much on the gameplay and the gameplay loops. But I think in the essence, the integration of like tokenized incentives, that's all a motivation structure that needs to be well designed, like how a game loop is designed. So it's a way to be able to balance that incentives, but also have that not be too much so that it doesn't overpower the gameplay itself. And what we're doing at D Labs, I mean, definitely one thing is building a solid game and really tracking the data of users, of who play the game, the quality, the retention, the different funnel loops. So we take a pretty scientific approach in terms of game development and updates. So we look at retention, and in order to improve retention, I think something that's really important is being able to track all the funnels and see where users really flow out or flow in, where users get more engaged. So I think it's more of a science in that part. I think it's a combination of like a science and an art. So the art part is about community building, and I think that also plays a big role in terms of retention. So building a really strong core community around your game, having a lot of events. We do things like game nights, a lot of events in Discord. So and continuous mentioning of where we're going as a company, as a game, what we're intending to do. I think that kind of communication with the community is super important. So those are some of the metrics, some of the things that we do to keep our users engaged and retained. And I think a lot of projects miss this and only focus on emphasizing the token side of things, which is also important, but there's also a lot of different other things that, in terms of gaming, that you need to really integrate together so that it comes together as a whole.
Well, that leads to my next question for you too. And many games with tokens actually have struggled to stay economically healthy. And do you have any special safeguards to avoid the quick dumping after airdrops? Like we saw that happened with games like Hamster Combat. And how do you balance giving rewards to players and now, giving rewards now versus creating long-term value?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we do, we have kind of a loyalty program like within the D Labs ecosystem as well. So those who have been with us for a long time, those who have played multiple of our games, those we know who really have stayed and engaged, who fight in the leaderboards, we have kind of a VIP system integrated for that. And I think those users definitely are the ones that will stick around even after the airdrop. And being able to reward these users in a bigger way and also creating mechanisms to retain these users, I think is important. So for us, what we're doing, I think one thing is the loyalty program. It's called the engagement level system in D Labs. So that's a platform level system. And I think definitely one thing that is really important is staking. So making game incentives and monetary incentives aligned with staking the tokens so that users continue to engage and retain. I think those are probably our main mechanisms that we're considering right now.
Great. Chris, Tabi has classic chicken or egg problems. That's like, many other game companies have that too. To be successful, it needs users, but at the same time, it also needs good games at the same time, right? And how are you attracting both developers and players to your ecosystem. How do you measure if you're getting this balance right?
Right. Yeah, I think that's really like the million-dollar question, right? For any ecosystem or any game. I mean, I'm sure everyone here knows very well. Maybe they've spoken to like different like foundations, L1s, etc. And it's always the same thing, right? If I build on you as a game developer, how many X number of users can you at least guarantee that it won't be empty? I will at least have like 10K users MAU at launch, right, for like a few months. Can you do that? If you can, I'll go there. But how do we get those like 10K dedicated, actual, not just farming players, those who are actual gamers, right? I think I don't think it's an easy solution. I think the way we do it, of course, on like a technical level, trying to say, okay, we have tech debt, makes it easier for you to come in, or we, actually build more focus on apps or games that are on like Web2 social platforms like Telegram, Twitter, Line, etc., because it does lower the barrier in a certain sense. But I think the other way is something that we've designed it a little bit like our tokenomics. We call it something that's called proof of retention. You can think of it as kind of like Barachain's POL or actually Kaito's InfoFi or like the V-curve model, where basically we want to reward the users or the gamers for their productive attention or their sort of like curation to the apps, right? So as a user, or rather as a chain, we've actually like dedicated or carved out X percentage of our total supply to be distributed as emissions through this sort of like mechanism. So if you are a user or gamer and you vote on a certain game, based on sort of like the sort of like quality of the votes or kind of like the attention can direct to it, you get a certain amount of rewards that goes back to you. And as a game, you also get back some rewards based on the total amount of votes that you get. So you can think of it as kind of like a decentralized grant system in a way, but also they can also engage like bribery, right? Let me offer like in-game incentives, actual like costs that I would use for like UA or user acquisition instead to like bribe users to vote for my game to get attention. And at the same time, we want to, we've been trying to focus more on like productive attention. So from the perspective of a game, my North Star, my criteria is actual real gamers. So if, let's say, for gamers who hit up to level 20 or level 50, I know they're definitely not a bot, they're an actual real user. As a foundation or as a chain, we reward those users, or we provide them the tools so that those users get additional voting weight or power, so that they get more rewards as they sort of like hit this criteria that's set by the games themselves. So like to create that sort of like actual productivity as well, actual consumption. I think to answer your point more directly as well, right? I think it's hard, but let's say there is really, our ecosystem is dead. There aren't any games, but at the very least, being more direct, as long as our token have value, we do get that like emissions or distributions. We will have at least one game, I think, or a few games who are attracted to come in because they get to get that sort of like token grants, which they can use, or they get to acquire or capture the majority of attention from our ecosystem, which they can then use to like, kick off that flywheel. So I guess the main success factor, or how do we like consider it, is of course being able to use this tokenomics to at least get in a few quality games, assuming we are unsuccessful in other fronts, so that they attract like quality players, quality number of players, and then kind of kick off that flywheel to have more games as well. So I think we're judging based on number of games or decent like the AU that we can attract initially.
Great. Clement, Spot Zero is a great game with a lot of features. I could see that in the introduction, but games of those kinds can sometimes overwhelm the new players because it has too many features. And how do you make the starting experience simpler and easier for the crypto newbies especially? And which specific improvements to the user experience have worked the best for keeping new players, those new crypto newbies engaged in your game?
Well, so on the user experience side, we're gonna be using the account extract solution for making it way more easier. So Web2 users, they can jump right into your game without having to go through the wallet creation process. So they can use Apple, Google, or Twitter accounts to log in. And then for the Web3 side, it is actually basically like a kind of journey. So inside of the game, they're going to be learning about the different features throughout their progress inside of the game. So we are giving them we can say, the right information at the right time. We're not going to be telling them everything up front. So we're not going to be, for example, like releasing a kind of like white paper with 30 pages, telling you about the whole game economy. It's basically like they're going to be enjoying the game, and then through their progress, they're going to be learning about there's actually a marketplace. They can get additional items through a gacha pool, and these items has actual value to certain users. And this is how we actually going to be making the user experience way more easier, and also to increase, we can say, the actual user retention, either in both Web 2, Web 3.
Great. Hasten, mobile game market is tough with big games like League of Legends, which is already dominating actually. What specific new features does Arena of Faith offer, something that is not possible without blockchain technology? And how do these features make the core experience of MOBA better with Arena of Faith, while it should not be more complicated? It shouldn't be, right?
Okay, actually, I think we have a difference between the other mobile games like League of Legends or Honor of Kings. I think because we are multi-platform, PC players can fight with mobile players at the same time. And we have a global server, like people from Southeast Asia can fight people from Europe. And also, you know, with this game, actually we find a very good technique called lockstep frame sync in Web 2. It's very, I think it has the Web 3 spirit. So actually, we use lockstep frame sync to build our blockchain technique called proof of frame sync. So with this technology, the users can, you know, the whole process and settlement are on chain. Actually, it's kind of like a decentralized settlement. Actually, the users, each client may be the brain, and each client can make a result and send to our smart contract to make a final settlement. It's quite different from a CS structure, server-client structure. So with this proof of frame sync, I think we can make the users easily to put their assets, NFT assets or tokens in the esports event. And after that, using this on-chain settlement, we can deliver the incentives to all the users who join in the event. They pay their assets. We make it safe to send the incentives to the users and also to the users who buy our validation nodes. So proof of frame sync is the technique we used in this mobile game, and I think it benefits the whole ecosystem to build better esports event transparency and much more safer compared with other games. And also with this technique, we build other competitive games in our ecosystem, like the ACT PvP game, and we also have a PvP mode in our ARPG game. So all these competitive, the competitive gameplay, we use proof of frame sync, and I think it's a good usage of blockchain technique.
Okay. Now, Chris, many people still think that because of the technical issues, blockchain games are not as good as mainstream games. How is Tabi's technology addressing specific problems like transaction fees that are too high, payment systems that are too complicated, or the interfaces that are too clunky, which in result will frustrate players coming from traditional games?
Yeah, I think the way we do this, to be honest, is probably quite similar to the other games and the founders are on here. It's basically by having a really strong onboarding experience. So basically, for every new game or their players that come in, we instantly set up a non-custodial wallet, an AA account abstraction wallet for them. So anytime at all, they can always export their private keys out, but it's powered by MPC, so there is a decent level of security and safety to it. You can log in through any auth method you choose, be it your Google account, be it Twitter, TikTok, etc. And even if you wanted to, or even if you want to, you can create a sort of a Tabi wallet or account or a game account and wallet directly from like TikTok itself. So it's a very like seamless process. Just going on TikTok, you're able to create your account, your wallet, being able to even like sign up for like a crypto debit card, and then be able to like top up and make payments all directly from there. So I think just by having some of this and then offering this to game developers so that they can, for instance, subsidize like the gas fees or the transaction costs for the players, or for the players, they don't even need to have the token itself. They can have it in like USD, in fiat, or in BTC or ETH. Well, probably not BTC, in ETH or some of the major tokens. We can basically abstract that away, so like do some sort of like conversion for them so they can, you know, play the game without having to worry all of those stuff.
Okay. Quinn, in the session that was prior to this one, the presenter said that the AI is AI is acting as a savior to the whole blockchain game industry. AI is becoming more common in the gaming industry, I guess. And how is D-Labs using these technologies? Are you using AI to personalize experiences or maybe balance your game economy?
Yeah, I mean, AI has been taking the world like in a storm, and I think the technological advancements of AI that's been recent has been super incredible. We haven't released anything like officially in terms of how we integrate AI, but internally we have been doing a lot of R&D in terms of how we can streamline some of the game development processes. I think an interesting aspect that we are exploring is how we can bring in UGC, user-generated content, with AI models, and especially like now just making a game itself, the process can be so much more streamlined. And I think with the power of AI, even our users and our communities, they can make secondhand like user-generated content with our IPs, and I think that's going to be really powerful in terms of expansion. So that's sort of the direction where we're thinking AI will be the most powerful in terms of integrating with our ecosystem. And we're pretty excited to see where it's going to take us.
Okay, Clement, as we've already covered, your game Spot Zero mixes the RPG gameplay and NFTs. And how do you stop all these different systems from becoming too complicated?
Well, I actually already answered that part. So it's like a kind of a journey. So when we are designing this game, we're thinking of, does it actually enhance the user experience? Does it really make sense to the gamer that is actually playing your game? And so this is why, so when we design this game, we are targeting different audiences. We have the idle mode for the anime lovers that are not so good at gaming. We do have the ARPG combat for the hardcore gamers. And then we do have the blockchain technologies for those that are looking to get their time investment into real value. And so all these modes are actually going to be offered to different audiences. And it's like a journey. They will be unlocking those features through their progress. And so this is why we don't want to be talking too much about all the Web3 features, what are the NFT elements inside of the game. We prefer to really focus on the game content because we think on the long term, those that are really staying with your game, with your project, are those that are really appreciating your contents.
Great. Hasten, as a benefit of Web3, people often talk about being able to use the same item across the different games. With the Arena of Faith, is it designed with this kind of philosophy? And in that case, how do you make sure that the players' NFTs or currencies stay valuable in a wider ecosystem?
Because our token can be used in different games, and also you can burn the token to mint different NFTs in different games. And actually, the mobile game, we have lots of famous heroes, and we built the ACT game. The users can use the same hero NFTs in the new game, so the NFTs are interoperable in different games. So if you have a game assets NFT like the hero card NFTs, you can also use this mining machine to farm our token in the new games. And playing the new game, we have more incentives, and we have new referral systems. Let the users to invite more users to join the new games and get more consumers, because only one game do not last a very long time, and especially for the users who pay for a game. So we build, each time we build a new game, the old assets can be available in the new game, and also we use the referral system to get more users. Yeah, like this. Thank you.
All right. Here comes the last question. Looking ahead to the next year and a half or 2 years, what do you think will be the breakthrough that finally brings Web 2 and Web 3 gaming communities together? Specifically, what is your company's strategy for this matter? From Clement?
Well, I think gaming studios, they should go back to the fundamentals like we started. So we need to think of why are gamers actually playing your game, because it's fun, because it is a quality game, you spend time on it, and not because you can actually make money. And so in order to be sustainable on the long term, so you need to have revenue. And so this is the same prime for both Web 2, Web 3 gaming studios. If you want to get the attention of potential consumers, you need to focus on what they actually like. So it is about the gaming content.
Chris?
Yeah, I think it's probably we probably need to see like another game that's on the same level or scale at the same as like Axie Infinity or Steppen, right? I think they have had their flaws, but I think we do need that sort of kind of level where it really gets the mainstream Web 2 attention. You actually have your neighbor, your neighbor's friend, your classmate, all playing that. I think the way we do that is, of course, being like mobile first, being like, building onto like Web 2 social platforms, like on Telegram, Line, just because of that accessibility. And of course, you do need like actual strong quality gameplay. And then finally, I think it's really that sustainability, right? No matter what, why do we expect them to come over to Web 3? Are we competing just on the content? If not, I do personally think there still has to be that yield component when it comes to like Web 3 games. But how do we make that sustainable? Not something that collapses when it's a bear market or collapses because of the game internals like tokenomic flaws, but something that can allow them to make like a bit of money here and there, but it's still like a fun game to play and kind of like at the same level as well as the other Web 2 games. I think for us at Tabi, the way we're going about it is we're incubating our own games on the side actually. Some of them have actually done pretty well with like peak of like 2 million MAU, have gotten like millions in like USD revenue without the token. So I guess the next step for us is how do we convert that into on-chain? How do we convert that to have like more tokenomics involved? But yeah.
Hazen?
So actually, I think for the Web 2 games, we have built lots of traditional Web 2 games before, and with this new ecosystem, we also use our previous games published with Tencent before, and because all these Web 2 games can get profits, and actually for some Web 3 games, the NFTs are very expensive for Web 2 users, but actually for the new games, we do want to build too much NFTs. We enable the users to use our token to join the new games and get more users from our referral system and get more consumers by this. And we will share profits with all these Web3 users and share the profits to the investors, of course. So I think we may continue build and build between Web2 and Web3 games.
Quinn?
Yeah, I mean, in order to bring Web3 games to more mainstream, I think 3 things need to come together. I think the market interest and opportunity in terms of the crypto market needs to come together. I think definitely quality gameplay needs to come together. And I think the third part, what we think is really important, is bringing on really strong IPs into Web3 gaming. So we are bringing Boxing Star X also was a really strong title in Web2 with a pretty big fan base. We're also bringing a Ragnarok game onto the blockchain. So I think bringing on strong IPs, not just with us, but also in the whole ecosystem, I think that's going to be also pretty important in unlocking that Web2 user onboarding.
Thank you, speakers. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the brilliant panelists. We really enjoyed your insights on the future development of Game5. Please give a big round of applause to our panelists. Thank you. 谢谢各位的分享。Ladies and gentlemen, that will be all for the subforum of Game5. Thank all the speakers again for the excellent speeches and the audience participation and patience. 各位观众，2025香港 Web3 嘉年华 Gamefi 主题论坛到此结束。再次谢谢各位嘉宾精彩的分享和各位观众的耐心聆听。We will focus on Pay 5 in Substage 1 tomorrow. 明天分会场议程将聚焦 Pay 5的主题论坛。Besides, you can collect stamps by visiting the booths of the organizers, title sponsors, platinum sponsors, gold sponsors, primary, secondary, and tertiary exhibition sponsors. When you collect a certain number of stamps, you can claim a gift at the information desk. The number of gifts are limited. 另外，在会看手册的赞助商 logo 页，主办方、title sponsor 及所有 co-organizer 白金、黄金、1级、2级和3级赞助商的 logo 下方均有一个盖章处。活动期间，集齐所有奖项的印章，即可前往资存台领取对应礼品一份，先到先得。And I hope all of you enjoyed as much as I did. And thank you so much again for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. 我们明天见，再见。